Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at a striking dial from Grand Seiko, and that's saying a lot if you know Grand Seiko. This is the SBGJ259, the Bamboo Path. So if you're new to this channel, this is where we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout the video, you have further questions or looking to buy this watch, check out the link in the description down below to the product page. Without further ado, jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. Grand Seiko is beloved by many for a variety of traits. This includes its leading calibers, superbly finished cases, and remarkable dials. But today we're looking at a watch that combines all of these characteristics into a final result, the SBGJ259. This high-beat GMT is sometimes referred to as the Urban Bamboo, and it has one of the most vibrant color palettes of any Grand Seiko model in today's lineup, and is also one of their best-selling high-beat GMTs. Now, part of the reason why I wanted to cover this watch in a review was just to try to do this watch justice of showcasing its visual tenacity on camera, as I think this piece is often undersold by press imagery about how striking it is in person. In fact, when I'm ever in the store, this is always one of the most requested try-on watches from the brand in a case. And I think the big reason for that is just how eye-catching the tones of the dial are in contrast to some of the less saturated colors in the Grand Seiko catalog. This watch was initially unveiled in 2022, employing the 1967 case style known as the 44GS that is without peer with its looks and unorthodox structure with its case. The original 44GS was designed by Taro Tanaka and helped establish Grand Seiko's famous grammar of design. The flat polished surfaces and dimensional curves are now a familiar part of their visual language, but at the time these details were newfound ideas. In terms of dimensions, the diameter of the stainless steel case checks in at 40 millimeters with a height of 14 millimeters and a lug-to-lug measurement of 46.2 millimeters, along with a lug width of 19 millimeters. The watch wears relatively true to size, if not slightly larger given the way the bracelet meets the case, with some remarkable casework being on display. No surprise for a Grand Seiko watch. The Zaratsu polishing of the 44GS is one of the more difficult to tackle given the larger areas of the mirror polished surfaces, primarily along the top side of the lugs. And when I state that these are mirror polished, this is no joke, as you will find some crazy reflections if you have another object close in proximity to the side of these cases. You can see the full effect. This is done using an abrasive sheet on a spinning wheel used by an artisan to allow this vivid reflection to take place, and it requires incredible level of detail and absolute certainty in each movement in order to get the best end result. High polishing is the predominant finish, with some hits of fine satin finishes accenting those distinctive angles. The case is rated to 100 meters and features a signed screw down crown, along with a curved sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the underside. The screwed in case back is also rendered in sapphire and affords an unobstructed view of the 9S86 caliber within. The 259 comes standard with a stainless 3-link bracelet that should look familiar to fans of the brand. Given the watch is in stainless steel, we have screwed in links that can be used for sizing. There's a satin finish on the anterior sides of the links apart from polished accents flanking the center links. The bracelet is secured with a trifold clasp, signed with the GS signature, being released through a dual button design, although it doesn't feature on-the-fly adjustment. As someone who's never had an issue with sizing a GS bracelet without micro adjustment, here's my trick to get it right and comfortable. First, you're gonna make sure that you size it based on how much you might swell, so give it a bit more space while keeping it fairly locked into position without causing constriction, and ensure that you have fewer links on the 6 o'clock side of the bracelet so the clasp sits directly center on the back of your wrist. This is so crucial to be able to get this into a comfortable fit. I find that half the time people complain about micro adjustment, the real issue is not that, it is poorly sizing the bracelet. So give this a shot or request this complimentary sizing from one of our team members after your purchase, and we'll get this all handled for you. As mentioned, this dial is nothing short of spectacular. The first thing you're going to notice is this green color that shows hints of yellow undertones, infused into the unique texture of vertical striations. The texture recalls the dial of the SBGH259 from 2019, also known as this autumn effect, but that limited edition leaned into reds and browns, while this one nails that leafy green tone of a bamboo forest. This dial was directly inspired by the bamboo path surrounding the Nezu Museum and Garden. an art museum in Tokyo. The dial's texture almost resembles the striping found on a decorative watch movement, although in a much more organic form, giving varying shades of green that is one of the areas that is not given its dues unless seen in person. The color is vibrant, but still pretty soothing to look at, making for a captivating dial that somehow isn't too much. The rest of the dial's details are equally impressive. You have the diamond polished facets and finely brushed top surfaces of the indices and Dauphin hands, exemplifying the GS style. Now, these facets of the markers are independently diamond cut by a trained artisan who need to align each facet using a drum tool. Given the multiple facets per marker, this is a time-consuming and ultra-precise process, with an artisan using a microscope magnifier following the cuts to ensure proper reflection. Other points include a framed date window at 3, you have the applied GS logo under 12, and a subdued 24-hour chapter ring in dial text in complementary shades of white and yellow-green, color matched to that pointer GMT hand. Even back in the late 1960s, at the core of the 44 GS was a high beat caliber, which was partially responsible for creating Grand Seiko's undeniable innovation in the world of high frequency. Today we have a modern take on these 1960s origins with the 9S86 movement, the high beat traveling GMT operating at 36,000 vibrations per hour or 5 Hertz. In addition to being part of the high beat family, this movement also has the added benefit of having an isolated activation of the local hour hand that doesn't stop the other hands when changing the local time after travel, being tied to the date and can operate forward or backward. The entire 9S8 movement family utilizes an anti-magnetic and shock-resistant alloy made of Grand Seiko's exclusive Spron 16 for its hairspring. This material took 5 years to develop, and as a result of its resilience, helps the broader watch uphold the ISO 764 standard for magnetism. Accuracy performance is regulated to +5 to -3 seconds per day, upholding the Grand Seiko standard, and is tested across 6 positions compared to the COSC test that comes with 5 positions, all while having a tighter range of acceptable accuracy in the process. Despite the high beat rate, the power reserve is still 55 hours with the help of MEMS manufacturing, enabling lightweight components optimized for efficiency, such as the escapement wheel and the pallet fork being skeletonized. Further to bypass the challenges that come with friction, Grand Seiko also incorporated a distinct step at the end of the club teeth of the escapement wheel, which helps retain lubrication, aiding in the durability of the component over time. And this is an important consideration given the added beats per second that come with high beat movements. The caliber is also fairly attractive with wide waves across the signed skeletonized rotor and central bridges. You have high polished screw heads, a polished barrel, and detailed machine engraving. So now for some closing thoughts on this SBGJ259. Let's start with some of the cons, then shift over to the pros. Now, number one, the same reason why this watch draws attention in the case is also maybe going to be one of the downsides for many people out there. It's not going to be to everyone's liking in terms of the design. Many of the other classic designs and icons that we think of for modern Grand Seiko have these understated elements to what they're bringing forth. This is not going to be one of those watches. Yes, there are pockets of elegance in what it's bringing forth, but generally speaking, this is a watch that's going to scream out at you much more than a traditional Grand Seiko. Also, the case height is not going to be the slimmest. This is coming in at 14 millimeters thick. It does not wear to that height when you have it on the wrist because of the curvature of the 44 GS case, but this is not a thin watch. Also, the bracelet is less refined compared to some of the other bracelets in this segment. You are not getting micro adjustment, so that also has to be considered here as well. But now shifting over to the pros, if you are somebody that likes an attractive Grand Seiko dial, but wants something that has a bit more vigor in its presentation, this is where the bamboo comes in. The finishing and texture of this dial is simply spectacular. You have this shade of green that's very attractive, but has some undertones that allow it to be more versatile than you might initially suspect. The case finishing is nothing short of extraordinary, as well as for the dial furniture, especially those markers and the hands. High beat and having an option for a high beat, especially at GMT and that complication type, is not something you will typically see. Under $10,000, there's not that many high beat watches available altogether. Yes, you have some Zenith El Primero maybe being another famous example, but those are starting to get into a tier where they're going above $10,000 nowadays. So Grand Seiko Seiko probably has the most diverse offering for high beats of any brand at this price range, and getting it with a GMT function while getting 55 hours of power reserve and taking into mind some of the considerations that they have made in the development of this movement. So you're bypassing some of the issues that come with looking at high beats, with friction, with the answer, with the step of lubrication in the club teeth for the escapement wheel, but you're also getting, in addition to that, efficiency for that 55 hours of power reserve through the hollowing out or skeletonizing of the component. So they're really thinking about long-term, how do you get the benefits of up stability and having a tighter range of accuracy that can typically be done with the rate, while also trying to bypass some of those downsides that can come with high beat. In addition to that, getting 100 meters of water resistance, so basically giving you that run for a daily wear as a travel watch. So in short, who is this watch for? It's for somebody that wants the striking dial color that is a change in course compared to the norm for Grand Seiko when it comes to the colorway, while also giving you a GMT watch that is one of the best in class while delivering a high beat caliber and checking off many of the specifications one would look for: 100 meters of water resistance, suitable power reserve for the frequency and rate, while getting fantastic finishing across the board. All right, guys, well, that's all we have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please give this one a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Really do appreciate that. That does help out the channel here. I don't just say that at the end of these videos. Also, if you are in the market for this watch, it is available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is an authorized dealer for over 35 brands. Every purchase from our website comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, how we're able to continue to produce content on our main channel as well as here and across all of our social channels is through selling watches. We don't have the brands pay us to produce content here. This is how our business operates. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd absolutely love to have your business. Let's keep doing what we're doing. We love what we do. In addition to that, if you're ever in the Cleveland, Ohio area and want to stop into our boutique, please do so. We just opened this last February. We have 4 flagship brands in that space: Omega, Grand Seiko, Glasuto, Ring and Now, as well as Breitling. But in addition to that, if you have any watches that you want to see on our website, reach out to us about 24 hours, 48 hours beforehand, and we'll let you know if we can bring in any of those watches from our warehouse so you can go ahead and try those on if you're in the area. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.